things in place so that I won't get married too much.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Transcript. My name is Margaret and I'm so happy to bring to you another episode. Today we're going to be discussing the challenges of dating in the 21st century, and I have a wonderful panel of people here today to discuss those issues. So I'd just love for you guys to introduce yourselves, tell us your name and your age if you like, and we'll jump right into it.
Samuel, 27.
Dami, 27.
I'm Alex and I'm 25.
I'm Danny and I'm 23.
My first question to you guys is, how has the dating game changed as you have aged?
I think it's gone harder, because obviously when we were younger, and probably the people around us were dating, there was more of like a face-to-face type of thing. I think now, like the advent of like social media and everything has gone online now, so there's things like Tinder, there's things like just more social platforms online. So I think dating is just changed in that aspect.
I think it's a lot harder to form genuine connections with people now. So I think everything seems quite superficial. And then obviously the way technology has changed the face of dating. So like Alex was saying about like Tinder, Plenty of Fish, all those sites that you like to use, Margaret. It means that you're not spending as much face to face like time with that person, and you're just assessing whatever profile they put online. But then how much of that is genuine? Because as a generation, I think we're quite good at putting filters on everything. So you don't really get to see what the person is really like until it's quite late. And by this time it's probably maybe too late. So
And I think it's become a lot more serious in a sense, depending on your circle and your mindset. It's a lot more serious because everyone's thinking of the end goal, marriage. I haven't really got time to be dating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in a sense, it's got a lot more serious than obviously when I was younger.
I think for us, yes, but then outside of our circle, I think dating is also difficult because people's expectations are different. So before, back in the day when people would start dating, majority of people would have marriage as like their end goal. But nowadays it's like actually nobody's really trying to get married out here unless you're from certain social groups. So and then obviously that's where disappointment will come in, because you've got a difference in expectation. And then also like there's a lot of pressure as well, like when you're dating. So if somebody's coming to the table, you're thinking, okay, you're going to do that Google check, do that CRB, DBS, you see where does he work, what is he like, before even dating someone, you already know what they've had for breakfast. You know they went to the Kendrick Lamar concert yesterday. You know they work at this place, they're probably at this tax bracket. In terms of like just getting to know someone, like before just getting to know someone genuinely, you kind of already have these preconceptions, and I think that already puts a lot of pressure.
But that makes it easier though. If you have all that information at hand, you can make an educated decision before.
But you might be discounting somebody that you might be like normally that you wouldn't. Maybe you would think their CV wouldn't even make the cut for the interview, but because you've kind of got to know them, you're thinking actually I can make an exception. They're an anomaly.
I feel like important points have been made, and I feel like the advances in technology, though the aim was to make it easier, it's actually made it harder. And I think that our generation are now placed in a position where we have extreme high expectation and we also have too much choice. So I think as a result of that, you might look at a certain relationship and they might have certain things, because it's so easy to see what another relationship has now. So you want to kind of imitate that. So for example, you might now see someone who ticks all of your boxes, apart from it might be one thing: they don't earn enough, or they don't have this, or they don't have that. And I feel like you're quicker to write people off these days because you can almost just generate a new person. Do you know what I mean? People are a lot more disposable, in my opinion. You place a lot more emphasis on stuff like their prospects, their salary, their earning potential, all that kind of stuff. These are now categories that, like for example, I don't really think my parents would have taken that into account when they were dating.
But what does it mean to date? Is it just have options, or the ability to go on dates with people? Or are you saying to date means to seek for the one?
I think in this context,
what is the definition of
seek for the one?
Yeah.
Dating with intention. A lot of weight is now placed on it, and it's you know, it's like I don't want to step too far left. I don't want to step too far right. I don't want to make that mistake and commit to somebody who, or I might, you know, walk 5 yards later and find someone that's deemed as better as the person that I might have kind of.
Yeah, I think it's our generation though, because I think it just feeds into this whole. This might be completely too broad, but I think our generation are very much like, we don't like to almost make mistakes. We take that into dating. We also don't make choices just, you know, oh, if it works out, it works out. We get married, live happily ever after kind of thing. We think we take it a bit more like, nah, like this might not be the one. It needs to be absolute perfection before I make that. You know,
is that wrong?
I don't think it's wrong, but I think you create almost a cultural suspicion. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, these are my cards. I want to see your cards before I show my cards. So everybody's holding their cards.
What cards?
Close to my chest. My chest.
You got CRB, Google search.
Yeah, but even still, because obviously we're talking about like your emotions, your heart. That's probably the most precious thing that you own. So I think people can be like hypersensitive or super cautious, you know, and so but it means that instead of just going with the flow and allowing things to happen naturally, you kind of, you know, never jump in all the way in.
I'm not comfortable encouraging someone to jump all the way in if you're not 100% sure.
True, but why aren't they 100% sure?
Nobody wants to be vulnerable. Even just the culture of like, how do people date now? You can go out somewhere, you meet somebody, boom, you exchange numbers. It might be a month before he calls you. But he might be texting you on WhatsApp. Why? Because he doesn't want to seem too eager. Do you know what I mean? He might be wanting to actually call you. Or he won't call you, like he might message you at like, I don't know, 8:34. So it looks like, you know, he was busy in the day, even though he's been burning to text you. Why? Because he doesn't want to seem too eager. If I'm going to call you,
okay, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
I know what time it's going to
If he texts you straight away, what would you say? Damn, be honest.
Alright, wait. If I'm feeling the guy, I'm not gonna say Jack, I'm gonna be like, yo, what's up?
If he's texting you from 9 AM to 5,
Danny,
6 PM during the week,
Danny, I promise you.
you're gonna ask him what employment is this?
Danny, I promise you. If I'm feeling the guy, it's not a problem.
No, I think
at the very beginning.
At the very if the conversation is flowing, we're talking, that is cool. But if it's just have you eaten, what are you doing? Then that's air. I'm not interested. You know what I mean?
Okay, so guys, I'm gonna read a quote for you, and I just want to hear your perspective on it. 21st century singledom is a baffling realm of non-date dates, non-relationship relationships, crossed wires, and failed semantics. This is from Rebecca Holman, a possibly single 29-year-old. I think she's alluding to the ambiguity in our culture, in our dating culture, that it's like, if I take you for a coffee, this isn't a date. But if I take you for dinner, it's a date. Like, I think she's alluding to that type of ambiguity.
It exists. I think it would be wrong to say it doesn't. I feel like a new term in our generation has been coined of situationship. And I feel like she essentially defined the situationship of level of commitment is there, not too high, not too sure how far outside of that commitment you can stray, and not sure how committed to that person you should be because you're not sure how committed they are to you. So I think it exists. Do I know why? I'm not sure.
But I think it goes, again, going back to that, people not wanting to jump all the way in. Maybe because of fearing that there's something better outside. So this might be Miss right now, but she's not going to be, you know, Miss forever. And then also, just some people are scared of commitment. Just scared to put themselves out there and put themselves in a position of vulnerability, but still wanting that companionship and enjoying, you know, the benefits that come with an intimate relationship, but not wanting to like grapple with the responsibilities.
So this Miss right now but not later, is that a lack of contentment? And I guess you guys can speak to this, and girls actually, because I think it's both of us who do this. Is there a lack of contentment in, okay, this girl seems to be showing me, you know, that she's interested, she has qualities that I desire, yet let me just hold off a little bit because there could be someone in my future?
Actually,
So is that a question for the guys?
For both, actually.
Like,
I feel like
if I'm honest, it was definitely aimed at the guys, but
Okay.
I think it applies to girls as well.
Go on, Ellie.
Yeah, I think you'd have to say yes, not speaking from personal experience, disclaimer. And I think it does come back to the issue of too much choice. I think because we live in a society where it's that easy to kind of meet someone. Like you can go on Twitter and find someone there. You can go on Insta, like a couple pics.
Yeah.
Start
real.
from there. And you get what I mean?
I'm not sure it's an issue of too much choice.
What do you think?
Because there could be, let's say you have a buffet, like, that's choice, but nobody's forcing you to go and pick from every dish.
It's true.
So I think it's got to do with
Yeah.
man and then our nature of maybe greed or wanting too much or not being satisfied, never being satisfied.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's a case of, right, there's so many good girls out there that let me not settle down yet, I need to taste from the whole garden. I think it's a case of us looking inwards and being like, okay, there's an issue as to why I can't be
I
satisfied.
completely agree with you, and I believe that is almost a trigger factor as to why we feed into it. But I feel like in society, like for example, I was speaking to one of my colleagues not too long ago, and he was kind of explaining to me how dating was back in the day, and like how when he met a girl, he had to write down her number, make sure that she was at home at a certain time, and call her house phone, make sure that the parents didn't pick up. That's very long. I don't have to have met you to keep in contact with you now, which means that people are a lot more disposable because, for example, if he had to go out of his way to go somewhere physically to meet someone, to get the number, to call them, that's a whole process. Whereas now I'm like, okay, she ain't text me back, boom.
No, what Danny's saying is so true. He doesn't need to work.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with Danny. Not Danny. But that's the problem with
But that's his
with
point.
society right
Yeah,
now.
that's his point.
But it's not. It's not Danny. But no. I want to differentiate. It's not the case that it's because there's a lot of people. It's the case we're not willing to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But it feeds into the society in which we have now built. Because it's now we now have the availability to play on that natural desire within the man to do that. Whereas it's harder to play on it if the effort in the initial stages has to be 10 times more.
So we because of everybody's so accessible, allegedly anyway. Like you're talking to people all the time. So you might be talking to, I don't know, couple people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what I mean? Keep it going. But you might be talking. You might have a couple of them on the go for some time before you drop them out and you finally wipe one up. So
I feel like that's more common within women, by the way, but we'll probably get there later.
Wow. Okay.
But we'll come to it later. Sorry.
So you might be talking to a couple of people at a time, and then again, because nobody wants to put their cards on the table, you end up in a situationship. Things go left, you have to break up, but because you got
break up, what was there to break up? I know.
It was a situationship, and you didn't have the parameters of a normal, like, functioning relationship, normal titles and normal roles. It's how do you then grieve that? How do you reconcile a relationship that technically didn't necessarily happen? And I think you have a lot of people who have almost exes, or even like the other day, you could be seeing someone who's not really your boyfriend. You're going. It was Valentine's Day this week. How do I look for a card that's to my boyfriend that's not my boyfriend? We have a lot of people that are in that
Why
situation.
are you sending Donnie a card then?
Sorry? A card.
Sorry, what did you say?
Why is she sending the guy a card if she's not your
Because she's
boyfriend?
acting like a boyfriend.
Why? You want the privileges of being
No, because I think
boyfriend and girlfriend.
Do you know what I think?
Without
You're right.
committing.
No, but I think the girls are the victims of this. Like, we live in a society, ultimately, let's say in the world.
Mostly
anyway.
girls are the victims of
They are, because they live in a society where ultimately they have to play by these games to even be talking to someone to get to the point where you're now boyfriend and girlfriend.
If they are
the game of like
dating game.
the dating game.
Now?
So the game of like, oh, we're talking, so that's all we're doing right now. So I don't know whether I'm because you've not given me a label now, so I don't know if I'm your girlfriend. I just know that, okay, we're talking, and for the most part I feel like you're talking to just me. So we're trying to work within these parameters.
Yeah, it can happen to a guy as well.
It can, but it mostly happens to girls. And I think you can...
And then even you might not even feel like you're even able to ask. Like,
exactly.
I mean, although I always encourage you to be like, yo, like, what is this?
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people, men and women, don't feel like they can ask, especially if it's
girls
like...
get labelled,
quite
crazy,
early,
she's better on me, man.
yeah.
Like, too much. And it's like, well, how is it too much to just ask what am I? Like, what are we? Like, that's not too much.
I think experiences...
teach you.
That you can't just be out here saying, here's my heart, you can have it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think you learn how to, and it's the proof is in the pudding. This is so cheap, and everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody's always talking. It's what are you actually doing?
Yeah,
How are you showing me that this is a safe place for me to be like, okay, you can put your bags down and stay. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm gonna show you a little bit more. But I think time. There's nothing wrong with taking your time, but I feel like it's just a lot of like. People are trying to rush through things.
That's true. Or they're taking their time without saying nothing. So we could be talking for 9 months, for example, and you still haven't said anything. So as much as let's take your time, but let me know what you're doing while you're taking your time, so that I know what I'm doing, so I know where to place you. So I think that's also a factor.
I think guys are like, they don't want to get hurt.
Can I ask you, do you think it's guys?
I proper think it's guys.
Okay. she said it with her chest.
Do you get what I mean? Because I think you're scared because of maybe your egos, maybe scared to get hurt as well, and you therefore are like, you're keeping your cards close to your chest. So you're saying like, no, I'm just gonna see where this thing goes. Yeah. But meanwhile, me, gingerly sitting on the side, I just want to meet someone nice. Just want to, see where this goes, and I'm willing to be vulnerable. But I think that's the problem is, a lot of guys aren't willing to be vulnerable and put themselves out there to be hurt. Like, it's a part of life. Yeah, sometimes you're gonna get hurt. You meet someone, okay then, move on, but start again. Like, don't then say, oh, now because I got hurt one time, like now I'm not gonna ever be vulnerable.
Maybe we're not as emotionally strong as
you think.
I think I can hear what you're saying. It's also an issue of if the guy, he's trying to get to know you, but he's giving you a lot. That in itself can sell. I feel like, and I don't think I'll be wrong for saying this, but girls love hard. Like when they're digging someone, they dig hard, and I feel like girls are a lot more prone to probably catching feelings quicker than a guy would. Prone to. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I feel like they're more prone to just because of the way that their emotions are kind of set up. And I feel like with a guy now, you have to take more caution. So you can't be too inviting, because now if you are too inviting, it sells something to the girl, regardless of what you said it is. If I say to you, I'm just interested in you, but I'm seeing you every day or every week, that's not going to match up with what I'm saying. So I have to try and now match up with what I'm saying, and try to make sure that my actions meet that. But then from your perspective, it's probably looking at like, why is he only giving me 20%? Because if I give you more than that, yet in my mind it's not completely made up, I'm gonna hurt you regardless. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna sell you. It's gonna oversell what I'm trying to sell. I'm trying to sell you getting to know you, whereas you might see it as a little bit more, and then that in itself is a dangerous area, even with the communication. Sometimes I feel like
there's a safe way to do getting to know you where no one gets hurt.
How would that look?
It's for me, practically, for me that looks like going on group dates, or not even calling them dates, but just going on group outings enough. I spend the time with enough people where I feel like I've gotten to know them without it ever crossing the boundaries of like me messaging you constantly and me having one-on-ones with you constantly, and I feel there's still enough guys I've gotten to know without it having to go to those
But
levels.
is that as a brother, or is that now to the extent in which you would now consider
Can I say
something deeper with that person?
It may not even be as a brother. You may have been interested in him, but because what she's saying, I think, is that because you guys haven't laid it out like that, you've gone on a group date, you've gone out with people, so you're just chilling with a friend, for example. If you weren't interested, if you found out after a couple of outings with this person that he's just really not your cup of tea, it's okay, because there hasn't been that type of intimacy that I guess you guys are describing.
I have to disagree, because I think
I do like that.
even in the setting of a group outing, you find that two people that are trying to get to know each other are quite isolationist to the group. Which in itself,
the pressures is different.
Not necessarily, because I understand in the grand scheme of things, but if you look at it on a micro level,
it can also
you have to look at it, and it's like, even for the group now to be looking at those two people, to see that.
But they talk to everyone though.
So then you have the intention of getting to know them. So you can't talk to everyone. You have to use your time wisely. You've got 3 hours. You got 3 hours in that group setting. That's not enough, man. To talk to everybody. And I'm trying to get to know one.
Yeah, what are you looking for? That intimate. So how would you get there then?
How does that look?
In terms of
Because
moving on from the friendship to the relationship. Well, I guess it is about speaking to them on a bit more of an intimate level.
But I guess that's after you've had a friendship, though, right?
Yeah, but that's what I said. That's why I said at the beginning. I've never doubted that fact.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, it's very easy to say that you can get to know someone on a friendship level, and that will be enough for you to consider them.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is. I think when you think about it rationally, you have multiple friends. I have multiple female friends that I will never consider to get into a relationship with.
Multiple. Some people's hearts just went.
Not like that.
Dislikes on YouTube.
I have a lot of female friends, but I'll never, and they probably never look at me like that either. And that's completely fine. If I do have a female friend and I'm like, okay, I see something a bit that I want to explore, I now have to start asking different questions.
It's true.
Yeah, but
I think
questions is
it's
different to
dangerous,
spending time.
Yeah, because
intimate
if you're asking different questions, cool, and yes, but once you start entering into that realm, you very quickly should know what you want, because if you're asking all of these questions but then because I find a lot of men sometimes it's like you're trying to tease all of those things out, but you're still sitting on the fence swinging your legs, and it's like that area of grey, there's only so long that you can both occupy that space. That time expires, and then you either need to make a decision and be together, or make a decision and let them part ways.
As a man, as a Christian man, in pursuing, you have to guard your sister's heart.
True.
In your tactics, your maneuvers, your swords. You have to think, okay, how can this be perceived? Even if you think, oh, hold on, I'm only just doing this. You have to think, oh, she might think this, and I don't want her to do that, so let me not do that.
Moving like confused, like, oh, but I was only calling her at 3 o'clock in the morning. I only asked to spend time with her on Valentine's Day.
I completely agree. Once again, I wouldn't ever disagree with that fact. However, it doesn't discard the fact that you need to explore that area. Now, when you explore that area,
it can.
It has to, and I think anyone that says that it doesn't, it has to encourage a certain level of vulnerability. It has to.
I'm not disputing that with you.
And then I feel like with that, sorry, let me land.
Yeah, go.
With that, I feel that the responsibility comes of the communication to step up. Now you need to communicate the area and the intention, especially as a man, in which the area that you are now in. So you've now stepped up. If you are becoming more intimate, you have to step up the communication, because
thing as well.
Okay, so can I ask a question? I know that's your job, but so if somebody's that you've never met before, slid into your DMs and was like, hey, eyes emoji, how you doing? How likely are you to respond to that?
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
This happened to me.
Yeah, my God.
Anyways, no, not even like that. But he didn't have like a thing, like a
He didn't have a picture.
So then, exactly. I think he saw one of my pictures from like when my old Christmas party was, and he was like, oh, we had our Christmas party there. Okay. You look really nice, something onto that. But anyway, so he thought he could hook on to something, and he tried. So then I was like, I didn't respond to the messages. So I was thinking, okay, maybe we have mutual friends. So I went on his thing to see, but he was private. So I thought, okay, let me follow him, see his pictures. So then he responded to me, goes, oh, you're going to ignore me and try and add me or something like that. And I was like,
wow.
This is awkward.
He had to get axed to.
Wow.
What about you, Danny?
Wow.
if a girl was to...
And would you think she was forward as well, by the way?
She slid into your DM.
I find it really interesting.
I mean, I know it happens to you a lot. I see you.
No, I know it doesn't. I'll find it a very strange approach.
What, sliding into the DM?
If a girl, if a girl slid into my DM, because I'm always wary about how much you can get to know me from my social media profiles. Obviously, you probably might have seen a picture or something and you thought, okay, I'd like to get to know you a bit more, but I feel like if a girl is sliding into my DMs, it's probably likely to end up in something fairly superficial and probably not deeper than the surface. Plus, I feel like my personality comes out more when I'm in person,
And
and I like that initial interaction.
Can I ask you a question?
I think Sam's going to ask the question that I
Have
want
you
to ask.
ever slid into a girl's DM?
To move to her.
Mhm.
Is that what we're asking?
Have you ever slid in a girl's DM?
You're gonna get this
Hold on,
one in
hold on,
trouble,
hold
you
on.
know. I mean,
He brought it up. I didn't bring it. Daddy, have you ever slid in a girl's DM?
To move to them. I mean, what are we asking?
Have you ever
Yeah,
slid
to
in a
move
girl's
to-
DMs?
No, I haven't actually.
No.
Never.
okay. To
No,
move
man.
to them.
I've never approached a girl because I don't really. I'm about to criticize myself. I don't really think I got that chat online. I
Don't really come across.
And I don't just
I love
think
that honesty.
I don't think it's just me. I think it is for a lot of people.
A lot of people ain't
Your
got that chat
personality
online,
just
yeah.
doesn't. I think some people, their personality comes across more online than it does in person. But I feel that
true.
you need to know your strengths.
Yeah.
And if I was to move to a girl in the
What's your
DMs,
swaps?
it's not going to go very far.
Yeah.
Because I like to speak and lead off of things that I know about you
Okay.
initially.
I guess my main question in this discussion is, what are the main challenges that you guys experience in this day and age, and how do you think men have changed compared to previous eras? How do you guys think women have changed, and how does that affect the dating experience?
So I think personally, because women are now empowered to live more independently and move independently in society, and you don't necessarily need a man. Do you know what I mean? So it's more difficult for you to. I think there's almost like a struggle in terms of what are the roles of men and women in the context of a romantic relationship.
I feel like women are now more so, and rightly so, kind of finding their value, and they're no longer settling for bare minimum. Whereas I feel like a lot of women have been previously taught that a man's a man kind of thing. You don't question, you don't dispute. Whatever he kind of wants, you kind of follow with it. And I feel like that feeds into a man's approach and what a man kind of presents before a lady, before he's even gotten with her. So I feel like a woman can kind of be put in a position where this guy, he's not really, he puts it on for a little bit, but it could be very fleeting. Whereas now, men are now being called to be a lot more consistent with their approach, and we're kind of called to raise that standard. And I feel like that's where the complexities come from. It's a good complexity to have because I feel like it can lead to probably greater and stronger relationships as a result. I was just going to quickly pose a question. Do you feel like that's now taken away from love? So in the sense where, see, love is called to be sacrificial, you got to humble yourself. Do you feel like now people are less likely to kind of display and show love as a result of wanting to have somebody who just gives it to them all and leaves them on 100 all the time? Whereas obviously in a realistic situation, you're not going to find someone that's always performing at 100%.
As a society, going back to the challenges of dating, it's very difficult now to find somebody who's going to get in the trenches and do that work with you. Love is a choice, isn't it? So I'm choosing you. I see your flaws, I see your weaknesses, I see your strengths, I see your limitations, I see your shortcomings, and I still choose you. So I feel like if you see, as a people, we're less likely to get on our hands and knees and do what needs to be done. And I think as well, because we're all so empowered within ourselves and we're all so self-sufficient, we're all sitting here thinking, well, why should I? Why should I get on my hands and knees and get myself dirty? Why should I?
You have to be careful, because then the boundaries of that, because I think of course in marriage, the expectations are completely different. However, before marriages, I am sorry, boo boo, because you could leave me tomorrow, and now I've been.
What, in courting?
Yeah.
If a man was courting you?
Yeah.
He could leave you tomorrow.
Of
I'm
course
not sure
he can.
about that.
He could do.
You could.
But
That's a tough.
no, obviously there's consequences, but
Change his
ultimately nothing. He's not broken anything. He's not done anything.
But if the right
unbiblical.
man, under the right circumstances, is courting you, I don't think he'd leave for a situation where he's seen a flaw and
it might not be
a Christian
big
brother
thing.
shouldn't.
It could, but he shouldn't, but he
Shouldn't,
could,
but
and it
happens
wouldn't be
all the
wrong
time.
to.
And
There's things that maybe that could be on his.
And there are things that are negotiable, non-negotiable.
Exactly, and that could be his limit, and that could be
But
his.
you would have
one.
ironed that out before you get to courting.
Not all the time.
We have
Sorry, what's your idea of courting? Because I think I have a different idea.
Courting is we're dating with a view to get
get
married.
married.
Unless it's like a health issue or maybe a family issue as well, like in terms of the families getting along. I don't know another genuine reason why someone should call off a court.
Okay.
But I think that's why I think courting and dating and love should be like, and marriage should be taken so seriously that to even get to that courting stage,
True.
man is looking at a woman like, regardless of what you're gonna show me, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Woman is looking at man like, regardless of what you're gonna show, I'm with you. I don't know.
I appreciate that. I just
agree.
think that there are difficulties. Well, obviously you've alluded to some of them, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think because Danny was alluding to showing love, and I wanted to just say that even in courtship, we have to kind of show. Again, boundaries, but a certain level of love has to be shown.
True.
And it just
Irrespective of what's coming back.
How do you think men have changed? How do you think women have changed?
I think men are less. There's the whole debate about chivalry, and you know, like we have men that are less likely to
or pursue.
Yeah, like to be active and forthcoming in their pursuit. It's like
Without
a very
getting much back.
it's like a very lackadaisical. Just let me just go with the flow. Like I'm letting you know that I'm feeling you, but I'm not gonna be all the way out there.
Some.
I'm not saying
Because I know brothers that have like approach in the right way
100%.
and still get me.
100%.
So
I've locked a few of them off myself.
Okay, what do you guys think of the view that men are less likely to be? Yeah,
what, can I ask a question? It may sound stupid, but for you, what does chivalry mean?
that's a good question.
What does chivalry mean?
How does it look like?
Opening doors, closing doors.
I don't think it's just about opening doors and closing doors or picking me up from a home or whatever, paying for dates, all of that stuff. I've got my own, I can do that by myself.
Okay.
But I think it's more about creating a space where the woman feels safe and protected or feels like she's a priority. Like before that was the culture, do you know what I mean? And it was seen as that's a very manly thing to do even. But now it's like, oh, you're really doing that? Oh my God.
The guys I surround myself with, definitely chivalry exists. But then
Hold
earlier,
on, because I don't like what this dog is doing.
Let's stand down.
I surround him.
So no, the guys I'm surrounded with, majority of guys in my church, as well. Hold on.
No, because
Hold on. Please, let me finish. Let me work, please. So, there definitely, chivalry still exists, 100%. Men in those circles.
Yeah.
Earlier we made a point about, women are now, what's that word that you now use? Redefining their worth and value. They're more independent, they're having flats.
Location.
So, on one sense, yes, like men in the world may have skewed the vision, but women in the world have this whole band of independence has kind of skewed, okay, so what can and can't a man do for you? So that has skewed it as well, but I just want to say, there's brothers out there, a lot of brothers out there, men's men. Get me?
I agree.
No, I agree with you. A lot of the...
But I mean, you don't agree, but it's cool.
No, Sam, can I give my view? A lot of the brothers that are around me are you, man. So...
There's a lot of other brothers as well.
I can definitely... No, don't do that. There's not too many.
Hey.
Because I G-check my thing, get me? So, you guys... are my brothers that are around me, and yes, you guys are fantastic examples. So even for me, it's like to bring a male into the situation that doesn't look like my male friends. Do you know what I mean? It would be difficult. Yeah, it's absolutely peak for him if he doesn't treat me the way these guys treat me. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not out here saying that, oh yeah, all the women independent. Although I have my own, I appreciate what a man brings to my situation. Do you know what I mean? So
because he brings a lot to your situation.
You are crazy.
I'm drinking. I think one of the, not challenges, but this might be misconstrued, but I don't think guys are as forward. So don't get me wrong, I don't want guys shouting me down the street.
Can you let me actually look at them?
Girl. In terms of, I don't need to be approached by shouting or painting. Like, I don't. It's not about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's just about like, from like maybe even a church context and just being surrounded by some Christian guys. It's very rare for me to see a guy just, you know, be bold in that regard. And I understand sometimes why they're not. Sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, wait. What can you understand about them? Like as to why they're not?
Because
So you say that
if
you
they get
understand.
it wrong, it's peak for man.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But do you know how much weight that holds?
But even to like, even if you like a girl, like you're so scared almost.
But do you know,
Okay,
let me explain the situation. It's not me.
No, I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying obviously I don't know now. Only Danny can be the same.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Let's do disclaimers. But anyway, I do think the reason that a lot of guys are scared about that kind of forward approach is because the weight in which we now place upon the approach, and we also place upon dating or courtship, or whatever you want to call it. Paint the scenario of a guy who genuinely is trying to settle down with somebody.
Yeah.
He approaches one sister, she rejects him. He approaches another sister, she rejects him. He approaches another sister and she rejects him. No fault of that guy, like of his own. That guy has always been forthcoming and he's always been intentional with these people. However, he's been rejected 3 times. He now gains a reputation of, right, he's moved to this person, that person, that person, that person. He just seems to be moving to everyone. But it's not necessarily that his intention is to move to everyone, but he's actually not getting the people.
So you need to check his approach.
I feel like you need to take into consideration a guy that one might just not have that confidence, and 2,
that's true.
He may also be scarred of other people that he's been rejected by, which is why his approach might now be a bit more timid.
I know people are in that situation, and for me, the simple thing would just be to like, just figure it out. Like, not to say.
What? Give
so
me
this is how I
give me something so I could go back and tell the brothers. Man has a plan for you. This. Finish.
I think, okay, so like, if let's say it was me, let's say one of my interests were, like, figure out what my interests are. I go to the cinema a lot. I'm not saying take me to the cinema, because that's quite, like, that's maybe too much. But however, why don't you just say, a group of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
what if, okay, you're over there, get me upper class girls. I'm over here, get me working man. In 2 different lanes. So for me to approach your group and say, oh, let's go cinema, it might be a bit peak. I don't know your group like that. You don't know my group. So give me so how I can. We're in 2 separate groups now.
Okay, so if it's a church thing, come and sit nearby at church. Get to know me on a more regular. We have lunch at church, innit? Just come and sit and get involved. I'm obviously talking to people. Like, I'm not talking to just. Get involved in the conversation. I'm not saying come and talk to me like one-on-one, but just get involved in the conversations around. And just let me hear your views. Like, I think it happens very organically.
The brother hasn't done that though, and you've just not given him.
Sometimes you might just even turn your back on that brother, and the brother's there munching now by himself because his boys are there.
How do you know the brother hasn't actually done that? I'm telling you, brother might have done that.
But you have to be willing to take that L.
This is for my brothers out there. How do you girls show interest?
Response.
Like, how do you guys girls show response?
I respond to your messages.
Exactly.
No, not that, man. I've already got your number. Before that, I see you in church. Sermon's just finished.
Oh, I'm talking to you. Like,
So,
I'm
hey,
smiling.
morning, sister. When you're smiling, you're like.
You can
don't say that I was just being friendly.
I'm just being friendly. You could get a friendly bar. A lot of girls have said.
In all honesty, I'm friendly with anyone and everyone. If I'm feeling you would never know. But just accept.
So what do you want then? I have to be like,
No. I said that my point is, on the basic level, just pursue a friendship and develop it from there. That's it. And I'm talking about a friendship more than hi, how are you every Sunday, or hi, how are you every whenever we see each other.
You pursue friendships at church.
You will find Margaret sitting in the same pew every Sunday, same location. Don't leave. Let's approach Margaret.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Why am I going to church? I'm joking. The answer is, if I'm honest, I've actually made a lot of friends, or people who are going to become friends.
She's tagging to become friends.
think I'm quite friendly, and I really enjoy like socialising and meeting people.
Cool.
So.
Have you ever? Sorry, it's time to put.
You're putting me on the spot,
Have you ever seen a brother at church, yeah, and been like, he's interesting? Just thought that.
Yeah, but that
Okay,
interesting.
cool. Hold that.
Wait. That
I'm
interesting is very
finished.
general, by the way. That interesting is probably not what you're assuming. But go
Okay,
ahead.
but what I'm assuming, you know what I'm assuming.
I don't know what you're assuming.
You know.
You know what I'm
Sorry,
assuming.
I'm asking a question.
You know what? Have you ever seen a brother and thought, he's interesting?
Possibly.
Cool. What have you done to put yourself in and amongst him circle and them things?
Even strategically.
Yeah,
I've heard about
yourself.
strategic positioning.
Yeah, maneuvers.
Can I just say something?
Go on.
Well, I'm not a game master.
It's true though.
Do you know there are opportunities to meet people that I'm interested in? Cool.
You'll take those opportunities.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
yeah,
it's
well.
important to sympathise with the situation,
That's
but it
true.
doesn't change what Alex is saying about guys just having to accept the fact that, you know, they may have to be a bit more forthcoming, even with the rejection that comes with it, even with the difficulty that comes with it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Well, just kill yourself.
I think guys primarily pursue based on looks. So then sometimes I don't necessarily feel sorry for you
listen.
because how can the only
Yes,
reason,
I
how
know.
can the only thing you're pursuing is that?
I
A lot of the time, like, you will see men that, you know, like a lot of my male friends will be like, oh yeah, she did this, but what's the criteria in the first place?
Yeah.
Because if you're picking somebody who is not of substance, and you know, maybe she's pretty to look at but she's got nothing in here or in here, then she disappoints you later on, and you now want to paint every girl with the same brush and say, oh yeah, women are this, women are that.
That's
But
true.
you didn't do your due diligence in the
at all,
beginning
yeah.
to say that, okay, this is actually somebody of substance.
so how do we move on in our pursuit of finding love? What are the key aspects that men and women need to take on board for a more successful journey in finding love?
I think it's guarding each other's hearts, being respectful, I guess being forthcoming. Yeah, guarding each other. I think when you care about the person that you're speaking to or have interest in, and you care about their heart and protecting them, I think things will genuinely go in the right direction. You approach it the right way.
I'd say protecting each other's integrity and also being honest, like with what your intentions are and where you're at. Yeah, making sure that you have like wise counsel around you that can support you in making the right decisions when it comes to the other person.
Be considerate, be loving in everything, and it's a risky game. It's a dangerous game, and you make yourself vulnerable. It can be beautiful, but it can also be very disastrous. So just understand those risks when going into it.
That's lovely. And I think ultimately, baseline, I just think pursue friendships with the opposite sex. There's no harm in that. Not for it necessarily to lead to a relationship. And if there is someone of interest, see how that can be developed further. I think that's a good kind of summary that all of you guys have given. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. Like, I'm so grateful, and for giving such wonderful and intriguing perspectives on your experiences with dating. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe to this channel. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheerio.
Wakanda forever.
We're going to play a game called Ace of Spades. I'm going to ask you guys a question pertaining to... What is this buster doing right now?
Carry on.
I'm Alex, I'm 26. No, I'm 25.
Okay, cool. Three.
Options.
Three.
Petty fish. You don't need a man.
Yeah.
No, I said that. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's saying that in
But
quotes,
I said
though.
in quotes. I
Oh, so
didn't
you
say,
don't. So you do need a man.
I've caught me.
Not me.
I need
Yeah.
I feel like females are now kind of refinding and understanding their value, and they are no longer settling for bare minimum. And I think
I'm sorry, this guy is. Hey, probably question. Man is preaching that. Man, read the. it.